toxic mother-in-law showed up unannounced and tried to take my son for herself. When I refused, she tried to destroy my life and got arrested. I'm a 34-year-old dad to a 4-year-old boy, married to my wife, who's 33. We've been together for 6 years now, and honestly, things were going great until her mom started pushing her way into our lives in ways that no normal person should. I always knew she was a bit overbearing, controlling maybe, but I didn't realize just how bad it was until we had our son. That woman somehow convinced herself that being a grandma gave her free rein to act like she owned him, or worse, like she was his mother. It started with little things that seemed harmless at first. She'd pop over unannounced, just to check in. She'd bring bags of organic food, swapping out the snacks we'd bought because she decided her choices were healthier. She'd comment on our parenting constantly, like when we used a bottle she didn't approve of. "Do you even know how many chemicals are in this?" she'd say, holding it like it was a grenade. She made it clear she thought we were screwing up, but I figured, okay, maybe she's just trying to be helpful in her weird, pushy way. Then came the cleaning visits. She'd show up while we were at work and let herself in with the spare key we'd given her for emergencies. I'd come home and find furniture rearranged, random items thrown out, and everything smelling like the industrial-strength cleaner she loved. One day, she even left us a note. I had to toss those old plastic containers, bad for the baby's health. "You're welcome." That was the last straw. I changed the locks, and when she realized what I'd done, she flipped out, accusing me of trying to shut her out of her grandson's life. Things got worse when she announced our pregnancy to the entire family before we did. My wife and I wanted to wait until we were further along, but she couldn't resist stealing the moment. "Everyone would have been so upset if I didn't tell them," she said, like that made it okay. And then there was the name. Oh, the name. She went around telling everyone we'd picked Anthony after her father. We hadn't. My wife and I had already chosen a different name, but Emile acted like she had the final say. When we confronted her, she fake apologized, saying, "I just thought it would be nice to honor the family." Looking back, I should have seen the warning signs. But I guess I thought if we kept setting boundaries, she'd eventually get the message. Spoiler, she didn't. It all came to a head last week. My wife was at work, and I was home with our son, having one of our dad days. We were in the middle of building a Lego tower when the doorbell rang. I checked the peephole, and sure enough, there she was, holding bags of toys and snacks like she was Santa Claus. I opened the door, but didn't even get a word out before she barged past me. "I thought I'd spend some time with my grandson," she said, all cheerful, like this was perfectly normal. "You should have called first," I said, trying to stay calm. "We're kind of in the middle of something here." She waved me off like I was being ridiculous. "Grandmas don't need invitations." Then she spotted my son and scooped him up, spinning him around while he squirmed in her arms. I told her straight up that she needed to leave. "Today's not a good day. You can't just show up like this." "Oh, don't be so dramatic," she said, laughing it off. "He needs fresh air anyway. I'll take him to the park for a bit." I stepped between her and the door. "No, you won't. He doesn't leave this house without me or his mom. End of story." Her face darkened. "You're poisoning him against me," she snapped. "This is why he doesn't feel close to me. You're turning him against his own grandmother." My son, sensing the tension, clung to my leg and whispered, "Daddy, I don't want to go." That should have been the end of it. But instead, she stormed out, muttering something about how I'd regret treating her this way. A couple of hours later, I found my son's favorite stuffed animal sitting on the welcome mat outside. It was weird and unsettling, like some kind of message. I told my wife about it when she got home, and we both agreed to keep an eye out for more strange behavior. Little did we know, the worst was yet to come. The next evening, my wife and I were winding down after dinner when the doorbell rang again. I opened it to find Emile standing there, holding a duffel bag. Behind her was a cab idling at the curb. "Pack his things," she said flatly. "He's coming with me tonight." I just stared at her, trying to process what the hell was happening. "Excuse me?" She shoved a piece of paper at me. "I've already contacted CPS. They're investigating you for neglect. Until this is resolved, I'm taking him somewhere safe." I looked at the paper, and it didn't even make sense. It wasn't an official document, just some nonsense she'd typed up, probably downloaded from a template online. "You called CPS on us?" my wife asked, stepping forward. "I had no choice," Emile said, like she was doing us a favor. You're not giving him the life he deserves. You'll thank me one day. I handed the paper back to her. This is garbage. You have no authority here. Leave. She crossed her arms and glared at me. I'm not leaving without him. I stood my ground. Yes, you are. What happened next felt like it came out of nowhere. She pushed past us into the living room, where our son was playing. Before we could stop her, she scooped him up and started toward the door. My son started crying, struggling against her. I want Daddy, he screamed. I moved fast, grabbing him out of her arms. You're not taking him anywhere. My wife was already on the phone, calling 911. Emile lost it. She started yelling, calling me abusive, saying I was endangering my own child. This is why CPS is involved, she screamed. I'm saving him from you. When the police arrived, she tried to play the victim, claiming I'd attacked her and was keeping her grandson from her. But we had cameras installed after her last big stunt, and the footage showed everything, from her pushing into our home to trying to carry my son out the door. The officers weren't buying her act. They arrested her on the spot for attempted kidnapping. The next few days were chaos. We had to contact a lawyer to make sure we were protected and file for a restraining order. Emile's actions had crossed a line we couldn't ignore anymore, and we knew we had to cut ties for good. But even after all that, she wasn't done. She created fake social media accounts to post lies about us, calling us unfit parents and claiming we were abusive. We reported every single account, but she just kept making new ones. Then she tried to cause trouble at my wife's job, calling her boss to claim she was mentally unstable. Thankfully, her manager knew the truth and supported her. The craziest stunt came when she tried to enroll our son in a dance class, again, pretending to be his guardian. The studio called us to confirm, and we shut that down immediately. It's been a few months since everything went down. The restraining order has helped, but it's still a process to fully move on. Emile's attempts to interfere have dwindled, but I wouldn't put it past her to try something else eventually. Every time the phone rings from an unknown number or we get a weird package in the mail, my guard goes up. My wife has been working through all the emotional damage her mom caused over the years. Therapy has helped her see just how manipulative and toxic Emile's behavior has always been. It's heartbreaking to watch her process the realization that her mom's version of love was really just control wrapped in a pretty bow. As for me, I've learned to trust my instincts more. For too long, I tried to be polite, tried to keep the peace, thinking things would get better if I just set a few boundaries. But people like her don't respect boundaries. They see them as challenges. The only way to deal with someone like that is to cut them out completely. Our son is doing okay, thankfully. He was shaken up by the incident, but seems to be bouncing back. We've kept our explanations simple, telling him that Grandma isn't allowed to visit anymore because she didn't follow the rules. He's young enough that it hasn't affected him too much, but we're determined to protect him from any future drama. The silver lining, if there is one, is that this mess has made our little family stronger. My wife and I are more united than ever, and we're learning to stand up for ourselves in ways we didn't before. Emile may have tried to tear us apart, but all she did was reinforce just how much we're willing to fight for each other and for our son. If there's one thing I've taken away from this, it's that no one has the right to disrupt your life or endanger your family, no matter who they are. Boundaries aren't just suggestions, they're necessary. And when someone crosses them, you have every right to do whatever it takes to protect your peace.